Like, how are we supposed to start?
No, I got this. Hello and welcome to our presentation that me and Gabe prepared about our torsion balance that we built with the help of our friend Graham. A torsion balance is the instrument used to measure the universal gravitational constant by Henry Cavendish. We wanted to recreate this experiment as a supplement to our Physics 20 curriculum. We thought it would be interesting, and we got some interesting results.
So, a torsion balance, it's a really simple device actually at its core. It's essentially a bar suspended by a wire. And what we did, well, the original design of the experiment was it had two small masses at the end of this bar, suspended in the middle by a wire. At like opposite ends of those two small masses, like sort of clockwise, about maybe 5 inches away from the small masses, are large masses. Gravity is the force of attraction between any objects with mass. Normally, we don't notice this force because it's really small. We can only notice it between objects like Earth, which is massive, or sometimes tides with the moon. What a torsion balance does is it measures this very, very, very tiny force of attraction, and it scales it up to a measurable amount. He did it in 1797. He had in his garden shed, I believe it was about baseball-sized lumps of lead at two ends of a rod suspended by a thin wire. I believe it was a quartz thread. And then about 9 inches away from those baseball-sized pieces of lead were two 12-inch diameter, 458-pound lead masses. Now, these are really heavy masses, and the force of gravity between them is still really, really minuscule. So he had a little peephole that he could look into his garden shed, and he could measure this very tiny deflection that this force of attraction would produce.
You can see the wire suspending the beam here and the beam oscillating as the forces around it kind of even out, and it'll approach a single point called the equilibrium point. That equilibrium point is going to shift depending on what forces are present.
So why did Henry Cavendish have a peephole in his shed instead of just walking into the shed and looking at things?
The reason he didn't enter his garden shed is because this device is extremely sensitive to any perturbations. Even opening a window or opening a door to walk in would produce air currents that would totally jiggle the rod about and would really ruin all of his measurements.
Besides this experiment, what did you learn about doing this whole process? Things that you felt would serve you down the line?
Yeah.
Can you talk about those a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
What doing a presentation about this topic has shown us is it's really important to know about a certain subject enough to carry out a conversation about this.
Yeah.
That's not really something that you can easily learn just by reading through a textbook. You have to really gain a deeper understanding about the topic, and I think that's important for whatever I may do in the future.
So I'll ask one last question. Would this kind of opportunity be beneficial if you could have more of this in your classes?
I think absolutely it would. Talking and social skills with presenting is, I think, one of the most important parts of life that I don't think is explored enough in schools. There's a lot that can be brought to the table by physically talking about something, and I'm glad that we had the opportunity to do so.
I think the most important part about doing an oral presentation like this is not whether or not you flounder, but it's how you react to unexpected questions and how you can pull thoughts out of nowhere almost. And I think being able to do that really better than essays demonstrates a good understanding of the subject.